Hello everyone, I am Renowned Zero, and today we're going to be talking about Leslie Headland confirming that her upcoming Star Wars series, The Acolyte, will look into what's going on for all of us right now. You know, the chick who was Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, Leslie Headland, that Leslie Headland, that was the former personal assistant to a man who was convicted of some very terrible things. They gave her a Star Wars show. So we jump into this article here from Bounding into Comics. The Acolyte creator Leslie Headland recently confirmed that the upcoming Star Wars series on Disney Plus will be a commentary on current American society, culture, and politics. So that's definitely what we need. A Star Wars show in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago, about modern politics. In an interview with Empire magazine that was shared to the Star Wars Leaks subreddit, Headland discussed the series saying, when you're doing something completely original, like we are, you want to question the status quo of the era that you live in. Not really. She continued, what I think is so interesting right now is that everybody thinks they're right. The Jedi really think they're right, and George Lucas tells us that they're wrong in Phantom. They missed a huge aspect of the dark side rising. They just felt like fertile ground to look what's going on for all of us right now. Again, the only Star Wars that matters is anything that Lucas created or approved of. Not only did Headland confirm the show will be a commentary on current American society, culture, and politics, but she seemed to imply the focus of the show being on female villains or self-inserts. Quote, when I was a young queer girl, you were not queer when you were young, you're an idiot. I was just hanging out with Ursula, the sea witch, from The Little Mermaid, she told the outlet. As a queer girl, you were not, again, a queer girl growing up. If you don't identify with the heroes and the villains show up and they're all queer coded, you're like, yes, that's me. Yes, because you completely have to identify as every aspect of your own self has to be portrayed on a character for you to be able to identify with them. It's absolutely ridiculous, and that is something that is taught by a parent or an adult, that this is the way you should view things, and it's absolutely not. And people have viewed characters in Star Wars like Lando Calrissian and Mace Windu as being amazing, despite the fact that they're most likely not the common skin color that watches Star Wars. Majority of people who watch Star Wars are straight white males. I'm not saying that there weren't dark skin or black people that were fans of Star Wars in the 70s and 80s, which is 80s for Empire Strikes Back, but majority of people who watched Star Wars were white and male. Headland added, as a queer female, oh my god, shut up. As Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, you're gonna see some camp. You see how stupid that sounds? Inevitably, but I would say that tonally our references are darker. What could be darker than a man falling to the dark side and almost killing his son? During an appearance at Star Wars Celebration back in April, Headland made it clear the series would be told from the perspective of the villains. No one cares if they're not good villains. She said, I think one of the things that would be helpful to kind of put in perspective is that we're at the end of that High Republic era and moving more into George's era of the Phantom Menace. So my question became, as a fan, you are not a fan of Star Wars, miss. I love all of the Star Wars. Shut up. When I initially pitched the show to Kathleen Kennedy, which was an original idea with new characters and not connecting to the Skywalker saga or any of the existing characters in the High Republic, which, by the way, the High Republic is shit, Headland continued, what I wanted it to introduce to the fans to the concept too was how do you reconcile the Jedi at the height of their power, the galaxy at the height of this age of enlightenment and peace, and who George says they become at the top of the Phantom Menace. And to me, that meant, why don't you tell a story about Star Wars from the perspective of the villains, of the bad guys? Yes, you can tell a story like that, but more than likely, you're not going to tell a good story about the villains of Star Wars, so it's null and void. And if those bad guys are outnumbered at this point, then that means you get this opportunity to see how the Jedi very subtly go from who they were in the High Republic and the Old Republic, which don't ever compare the High Republic and the Old Republic as the same thing. The High Republic is hot dog shit, and the Old Republic is amazing. because he gave us characters like Revan and Malik, and who they became by the time you're watching episodes 1, 2, and 3. Back in June of 2021, Headland confirmed the series will be female-centric during an interview with YouTuber Fantastic Frankie, which she's probably a Disney show. She said, just because my show is technically, yes, female-centric, meaning it centers around a female protagonist, I don't think that necessarily excludes men from that space. We all know it does because the Force is female, right? Headland would go on to explain, listen, I relate to male characters all the time. Like, I root for Mando. Like, I root for Luke. I like deeply, deeply well. Not sure how much I care about Han Solo anymore. I don't think you care about any of the male characters, honestly. When I was little, I really liked him. When I watch him now, I'm kind of like, oh gosh, a lot of my psyche makes sense now. All joking aside, I think that an inclusive space means an inclusive space. But at the same time, I think that just because something has a female protagonist doesn't mean it's only meant for women. Lately, it has been. And even women hate it. She went on to describe the series as a tent revival. I kind of see it like if Star Wars is a religion, which I think we kind of agreed for the purposes of this interview, it is. I like to think of my show as tent revival. It won't be. You can come over if you want to. We're going to be talking about some cool stuff. There's going to be some things we haven't discussed in canon yet. There are going to be some characters you don't know about and most likely not care about because they're not going to be written well. I would love for you to join us. I would love for you to be interested in it. And if that's not your thing, the cool thing about Star Wars right now is there's so much you can align yourself with and invest in stuff in. And if you don't like it, that's fine. There's really nothing to invest in Star Wars. They've killed all the greatest heroes of Star Wars. They've humiliated Mando in his own show. They made Boba Fett a complete idiot. And they've made Kenobi to be the ultimate villain by allowing Vader to essentially live and destroy Alderaan. The official description for the series states The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. A former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. So, nothing about this show seems enticing at all. The fact that you keep mentioning yourself to be a queer person just tells me that that's the type of character you're going to have. You're fine to have that, and people are fine to not watch it. Because this is not Star Wars. This is garbage. This is trash. And more than likely, it will be dead on arrival like most of the content on Disney+. Just as recently, they lost 4 million subs. Obviously, no one's really caring about Disney right now. Most of their stuff has been flopping as of late. And it seems like, honestly, the Star Wars franchise is completely dead. So that's all I have for today, guys. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, and returning viewers. If you do like this video, hit that like button. Subscribe for more content. Comment below what you feel about all this. Hit the bell for notifications. Set it to all that we get notifications anytime I post a new video. And I will see you all on the next one. Peace.